Right then, people. Hello. We need to talk about Bruno because it's an awkward predicament that they find themselves in. It's absolutely incredible to see Man United in this situation, and he could go. Should he go? That's the big question here. There's cognitive dissonance. I can feel it in the air because people are thinking, well, this is our best player. He's miles ahead of everyone else. Why on earth would we sell him? And to put aside the emotion of the quality that he has and has provided and how he's sort of safeguarded this Man United team to a point is understandable. Let's talk about this and then I'll give my take on it. I'm intrigued to know how you guys feel about it. Bruno Fernandes, Al Hilal willing to pay 100 million to sign Manchester United's captain. Al Hilal are prepared to splash out 100 million on the skipper. Saudi Pro League club are willing to almost treble the Portuguese. I can never say that bit. 250,000 a week wages, which is obviously not bad for him. I think this is like what's best for Man United, what's best for Bruno. Two possibly very different things. What I will say is, of course, he's crucial, and you can see that here from the stats. And it's been season on season. Literally since he's come through the door, he's been crucial. Two things that spring to mind, and they both come from the ripple effect from quite a while ago. First of all, Sam Peoples, United People's TV, amazing channel. I'm sure he's done a video on this already. We spoke about which players could you get rid of, should you get rid of, would you be willing to get rid of? And the point was, you need to make money off this squad. And there's not a lot to make from this squad because a lot of the players within this group aren't at it. And the stock of those players has dropped from when they came in. So, and are they the right age? And can you replace them? And so, on one hand, of course, Bruno is your best player. Of course he is. Of course he is. And the output that he provides is enormous. But in that video with Sam Peoples, this might have even been a year ago now, when we were looking at the assets that you had to sell, a 29-year-old Bruno Fernandes, as good as he's been, it's someone that you could sell now for good money, and you can use that money to, to sort yourselves out and to reinvest. It's the reinvestment bit that I think is scaring Man United fans, which is absolutely understandable because the players that have been able to bring in over the last few years, it's not worked. And the other problem with that is the fact that going and playing for Man United is absolutely different to any other place. But Bruno Fernandes, when you bought him himself, as good as he was, a lot of people sort of turn their nose up at players from the Portuguese league. And he has been an absolute success. So it is that time where Man United's recruitment team have really got to get it right. And I've also heard a lot of people talking about reset. Got to reset this club, got to start again. And I think you need to get a lot more out of the other players in that squad. And this is again, there's so many sides to this. There's two very clear sides. Can you live without Bruno? Can you move on from Bruno? Bottom line is yes. And I actually think if someone says to me 100 million for someone who can, in Man United's situation, when they haven't sorted it out when it comes to the Europa League and getting that Champions League football and therefore getting that money, you have to pull some levers. Now, there might be other ways of doing that. Amorim has come out and kind of said there are different ways of doing that. And it's now kind of on Bruno's shoulders. And he's also in a catch-22, I think, where he probably doesn't, he wants to stay and kind of see this through and get Man United back to where they were. And he's in the peak years of his career. But by the time Man United get themselves sorted out, apologies for this little dot, by the way, just messing around with my settings. By the time he's maybe got this Man United team to where he would love to sort of leave them, he himself will be at the end of his career. And in terms of the money that you're going to be able to get for him, it's not going to be this amount. This is an incredible amount of money to say no to. And I think, okay, the output needs to be found elsewhere. And I'm the first to say that I've become a huge, huge fan of Bruno Fernandes in this team because you can't not be. And the chances created, like you see here, in terms of the percentile, chances created, like he's always up there. Always up there. But the other person that I think about is JJ Bull. And JJ Bull said that Man United would be better. It's all about Bruno. And it is. But it's kind of been, no one else has had the personality to cope with the noise of Man United. So everything, anyone going, it will be this or it will be that, you're talking rubbish because you don't know. It's what's the calculated risk that is best for Man United? Is it to cash in so you can reinvest that money? Or is it to stick with a guy that you know doesn't bend under pressure, has consistent output, but of course is stepping into his 30s now? So it's an incredible catch-22. The other thing as well with the squad is the squad's getting younger and younger, and there's been that investment in the youth here. So with that in mind, you know, who's going to lead this team? But have a look at Chelsea. And now, I'm not saying the same quality resides in this Man United team as it does in the Chelsea team, and obviously the investment has been different there. But if you have high potential players that are young and kind of stick with them, then you're giving yourselves a chance. I've heard a lot of people talking about how have Man United got into this mess? And to that, I would say, you have to let that go. Like Man United, the badge, the history, of course it's all there. But no one is bigger than football. And actually, go back one, no one's bigger than Man United actually as well. Like this, I know that's contradictory, but the point is, players come and players go. You know, did you think you could get over Erik Cantona leaving? Did you think you could get over Cristiano Ronaldo leaving the first time? Probably not, right? But you move on. You find new stars, and new stars can be found. And I think this is the problem here, is that it's the lack of trust in getting it right. And the cliff edge of, if you think of how he's essentially kind of kept them up a little bit this season. Obviously, the bottom three have been so bad, but will that be the same next season? There's obviously a huge fear, and I say this a lot. What's the story? Often the story can start to become self-fulfilling. And the danger here is that if you sell Bruno Fernandes and get that money, the story is Man United getting relegated. Like, it really, really is. That's where we're at. And I've said this in a previous video, with the big problems that you have with this Man United squad. What is the truth when it comes to this squad? Are there players in this squad that could offer more output, but the ball's always going to Bruno, and Bruno's going and getting the ball? And that's not having to go with Bruno Fernandes. But we have seen that time and again with teams where you have that one guy, and that one guy goes, and other people have to fill the void. Thierry Henry talking about it this year. Arsenal need a striker. Yes, they do. He agrees. But he also needs everyone else to contribute as well. From Man United, for them to get anywhere long term, it has to be about the collective, maybe that little bit more. So it's a dangerous, dangerous position. For me, this is what I would do. I would accept that money. And if Bruno is willing to take that money, which I think is a really difficult one for him, because I think he's got so much to offer, but he's not going to be playing European football next year. And as much as he wants to make it a success at Man United, I think he's proven that with his demeanour and with the way that he's played as well, the way that he's kept trying to drag that team time and again. I've been so impressed by him this year. What does he want to do? I think he'll probably want to stay and fight. I've got a feeling it might fall down if Man United, from maybe it's a PR perspective, maybe it's not, who knows? They're putting it on Bruno's shoulders, and Bruno might go, well, no, I want to stay and fight, which is interesting. And look, he's obviously very well paid anyway, but this is like next level money, obviously, if he is to go. So what is the right answer? If I am the ownership at Man United, I think I would sell him. I think I would take that money, because the difference between Man United and any other team is that in terms of a player with a good stock right now, there's very few. And if you're looking to reset, you have to commit to that reset. You can't do it, half-heartedly. Do you want to sell your best player? Obviously not. But that's the situation you're in. So you've got to take a breath and make a decision. And either way, you're going to be limited if you don't take that money. But it does open doors if you do take that money. I know I'm sitting on both sides here, but there's no right answer. There's my opinion. And then there's what will reveal itself. Do you commit to Amorim and go, you're someone who's Bruno, who I like in that double pivot. I don't hate him as one of the two sort of 10s, but he's not totally nailed down a position. Again, probably down to the problems here. If you bring £100 million in, can you go and get some gems that stop you being... Of course, I don't think Man United are going to be anywhere near the Champions League next season, but can you start to step forward? And also, can you invest in those younger players? Something that Man United have been brave enough to do in the past. Go back to those Fergie years. Mark Hughes goes. I think Paul Ince goes. Maybe Kanchelskis goes. Maybe it's just not Paul Ince, but he certainly went sooner or later. To allow for that pathway of some young players that, hopefully have the potential to go and do it. Fascinating times. I'm not going to be stupid enough to kind of go, this is what has to happen, because I think it's going to be awkward either way. But it's not a bad offer for someone of his age, regardless of how good he is. Let me know your thoughts. What would you do? Would you take the money, or would you keep Bruno? Let me know.